All right, first up, you guys look like you never age. If we put a uniform on both of you this Sunday and play in a playoff game, what would your stats be like? Isaac, you first.
Well, first of all, I mean, it's universally known that black don't crack. And put a uniform on without practice, with today's rules, for myself, maybe about, it's going to be cold too. Let's see. I'll give you a good 4-catch game, about 38 yards, a couple clear outs. Yeah, I'll be good. I'll be good for that. But T-Hope probably produce a little bit more than that, though, man.
I don't know. I be with it's cold and with these achy knees, yo. I don't know if I don't even know if I'll be able to get out of a break without cracking. But I still probably give you about 5. I give you about 5, about 60. You know what I'm saying? I still think I got 1 or 2 double moves left in me.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's say the 99 Rams show up and play the Chiefs in Arrowhead right now. How does that game unfold, Isaac?
Under this dispensation of rules?
Yes. These rules.
Yeah, these rules. Just looking at their secondary, looking at, is it Spagnuolo still there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Greatest Show on Turf. I'd say, first of all, I think we most definitely probably rushed for about 190 as a team. As far as through the air, I'd say it'll be a good 345 yard game for us. A lot of offense from that standpoint, but definitely a lot of points, man. We would score on them.
Do you win the game?
Oh, absolutely.
Torry, what do you think? Torry, what do you think? Who wins the game? A lot of people think this Chiefs team is the best offense we've seen since you guys.
Now we win the game, and for me it goes back to just the level of toughness that we had. I'm not saying that the Chiefs guys aren't tough, but we certainly didn't have no problem playing across the middle. We certainly didn't have a problem taking the top end off of the defense. And then like Isaac just mentioned, we got a run game. We got a all pro caliber runner in Marshall, and with an offensive line that didn't mind moving the line of scrimmage, and they could anchor down one-on-ones to give Isaac and ourselves opportunity to get down the field. So it would have been a plethora of offense, like Isaac mentioned, and we would have pulled the game out.
5 years ago this week, we got the bad news that the St. Louis Rams were leaving. Do you remember where you were when you heard the news and your gut reaction? Torry first.
I don't necessarily remember where I was, but my gut reaction was like, wow, I was hurt because I just saw a lot of the history that we built there just kind of go away right then and there. I was definitely shocked and hurt for the folks there in St. Louis. And I said it, I've been on record saying how I really felt about it. But on the real, though, I was really hurt and felt for the city of St. Louis, because we got the fans there are tremendous. They're fantastic, and they love all of their sports. So to see that being taken away from them for the second time, I would say, was really disappointing. And then also with the history that we were able to create in a short amount of time there, it was something that I was thinking and hoping that we could hold on to for a very long time.
Isaac, how about you? How do you remember it?
Well, I was in a hotel, my wife and I, in Houston, and when I got the news, and I was in a similar position as far as my emotions. Just all of the history that we placed in that city. It was culminated with the fans, so the fans were always a part of it. That great run that we had, and I was devastated. I was more devastated for the fans, really more than for myself. I know change is always, it's inevitable. But just being able to grow in that moment, that's what I chose to do. But just really my heart went out for the fans, the fan base, everything they did to keep the team in town, as far as being able to come up with the funds for a new stadium and things like that. It just showed you their level of passion that they had for their team and the game of football.
Isaac, can you describe our dome right in the middle of the greatest show on turf on a Sunday afternoon?
Well, it's easy. I always go back to that very first playoff game versus Minnesota, and I often think about that NFC Championship game versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers just before kickoff. And, you know, I can be walking through my home and really just place myself in that moment, still garrison all those emotions that I had. And, you know, at that moment in time, you know, I was willing to do anything as far as football is concerned. If it's run down on the kickoff team, I was willing to do it. It was just had so much energy in the place. And you know, it was hard for opposing teams to come in and execute their game plans. And it was just, I mean, just all through the city, man. I mean, just to have a football team actually take over St. Louis, which is known for being a baseball town.
Right.
How about it, Torry?
No. I'm with Isaac on that, man. It was the dome was electric, and you could feel it through your bones. And it certainly was an advantage for us. It was an advantage for us offensively and defensively. And we were a type of team that could score defensively. So as an offense, to be on the sideline and hearing the roar of the crowd cheering for our defense and the magnitude and how loud it was incredible. So hats off to the folks in St. Louis, man. The dome was incredible. A lot of great games witnessed in there. And they certainly helped us in our charge to winning multiple games, but, you know, more importantly, winning that.
Torry, why was it important for you to be a good teammate? You play a position at that elite level where there's so many divas. Why was it important for you to not be like that?
Well, you know, I think it comes from, you know, when I was, since Pop Warner through high school and through college, you know, I had a certain aura about the way I played and the way I carried myself. And one of them was I didn't do a lot of talking. I didn't do a lot of jiving, unless it was, you know, it was brought to me. And when I got to St. Louis, Isaac was that way. It was about work. It was about competing. It was about being a good teammate. It was about understanding the culture of the team. It was about cleaning out the steam room when you got out. You know what I'm saying? That was rule, and you fell in line. And it was all about winning. So for me, it was a good culture because I was with guys that wanted to win and wanted to do it the right way. And I stood on those grounds myself. So to have it enforced and saying, damn, well, I'm not the only one that feels this way. It's important that I stay positive, be a good teammate, help out the team as much as possible. But it was shown to me by vets like Ike, Brother Ray, DeMarco, Todd Light, Adam Timmerman, Orlando, list goes on and on. The guys that showed me how to do it and be a pro the right way.
How about for you, Isaac? All the wide receivers with similar stats to you, or many of them, were divas that got into a lot of trouble and were me guys.
Well, for me personally, you know, from a spiritual standpoint, I never wanted to be that guy to forfeit what was for me. And I always felt that you could do that, you know, via your words. I never wanted to kill my wounded. I realized the shoes that other people were standing in from a quarterback standpoint, from an offensive coordinator standpoint, and just to be disruptive for my own team, it just didn't make sense to me. Mm-hmm. I felt like I can take that same energy and, you know, kind of oppose it on the defensive backfields that I was playing against. So if I was upset, you know, I'm going to take it out on the cornerback, on the safety, and some way down the line, I can, you know, release all of that energy. And then at the same time, have fun watching it on the film the next day.
But Torry, did you ever lobby for the ball where you went to Kurt, hey, you're passing the ball to Isaac too much. Come on, I'm wide open.
No, none of that. But certainly he knew, we were open. He certainly heard from us that, hey, we can win on this or we can win on that. No question. But never a point to where, yo, I'm trying to show Isaac up or trying to. No, it was, hey, what can you win on? I can win on this. So, hey, we can win on this based off of play action, or et cetera, based off of coverage or what I'm saying, or the corner saw, whatever the case may be. So he clearly heard from both of us that we were open. I mean, that's the nature of the beast. That's the position that we play. It's a very competitive position. You feel like you are the guy, and that's totally fine. Right. We were fortunate we had a 1A and a 1A, which was great. That respected each other, that respected the game. And for me, and I correct me if I'm wrong, but for us, it was about winning.
Absolutely.
It was about performing at a high level constantly, being available for your teammates. That was what was important for us. Yeah.
You told me something really interesting one day, that even though you and Isaac were always close, there was a competition between the two of you, And because he was so great, he made you great.
No doubt. No question. Because, he was the litmus test for me when I first came into the National Football League. I mean, I heard about Isaac and knew about Isaac even before getting drafted to St. Louis. And then when I actually saw how he worked, it was like, okay, now I have something to follow, something to chase. So I was certainly welcome the competition, but it made me good. And hopefully I was able to challenge him in areas and push him to make him great. But it was not only Isaac, it was Ricky, it was Oz, it was all the guys that I played against. But it was certainly Isaac's influence, his competitiveness was what I love. I'll go to the park, go to a fight with any day with Isaac by my side, knowing that we're going to compete and have a very, very strong chance of coming out of there winning.
Absolutely.
Isaac, what did Torry do for you from a competition point of view?
You know what? Every opportunity or every time that, the Rams would go out and draft a receiver, it automatically does something to the people that are already in the room. I had Eddie Kinnison, I had Oz come, just a bunch of guys that came, and I felt like that I can learn from each one of those guys. I remember Sean Mack teaching me how to run that 788 that we would run versus press. I mean, I learned that from Sean Mack. So it was no difference with Torry. When Torry came in, you can tell he was pretty uniformed in his approach. I mean, you can tell. I just watched him, the way he, I always say this, he always packed, the way he packed his stuff in his travel bag. You can tell that he had been around someone from a military standpoint that taught him that. And that right there, that action translated from, that to on the football field, the way he worked. So if I was a model for him, he was that push for me. So for me to stay around longer, I saw a lot of other great receivers who had played in the league for a very long time. And when that new blood came into the room, it kind of invigorated them a little bit more. So it was no different from Torry, just being able to watch him and develop a trust for him. And when he got on the field, that didn't take very long. It started his rookie year. He'd make big plays, impactful plays, and big time games. So I was real cool about Torry being able to pick up a 3rd and short or a 3rd and long, and having him have the ball in crucial moments. So I was real cool with that.
What did he pack in that travel bag, by the way?
I mean, just his travel clothes, man. I mean, he could fit a bunch of stuff into a small bag. Well, I struggled with that. So just seeing that and being able to, to learn from that, I learned to really roll my stuff up real tight too, and just place it in a secure area, and then bam, okay, now move. What's the next test?
That was that Hargrave Military Academy.
There you
go. Isaac, I want you to do this for me. I'm going to put you right now in the room where the Hall of Fame voters are, and I want you to present your case for Torry Holt joining you in the Hall of Fame. Isaac, go ahead.
Well, first of all, Frank, it's about impact. From an impactful standpoint, what did this player bring to the game? And what I felt like T. Holt brought to the game was a level of consistency. He was a great wide receiver, not just a good one. In the midst of other great players on the same offense that he shared with. Now, I'll call it my critique about who should be going into the Hall of Fame and who shouldn't be going. My thing is always this: did you have to prepare for this guy every week? And yes, I believe Torry Holt's name was mentioned in defensive rooms of every team that we played. Did you have to double team him? T. Holt was double teamed. I mean, you always had to have a safety over top of him. You dare not play this guy one-on-one, man-to-man, because you'd be in trouble. And plus the way he exploded, the way he would be able to defeat press coverage. I mean, a lot of people can't do that. So you would do everything you could to slow this guy down. Now, my final thing was, with all of that in front of him, was he still productive? And my biggest stat for T. Holt is he's the only guy that's ever had 1,300 yards 5 years in a row. Not many people could say that. And I think he's still the only one that can say that. So compared to what's in the room right now, these 3 guys that are in the room as far as that position is concerned, you would have to choose Torry because he had very, very impactful moments. He has a ring, has a Super Bowl ring. Now, compare that to the other guys. I mean, there's a ring with another guy, but he played with the same quarterback. I mean, his entire career, same offense his entire career, coordinator his entire career. He didn't have to relearn anything. So, for T. Holt, he probably played with different quarterbacks. He had to jumble up some offenses that he had to learn, some new language, some new jargon. That's tough. I mean, having to go into a full training camp and rethink and relearn what you call a certain route, Frank, that's tough to do, man. And for people who didn't have to do it, it's much easier for them.
Hey, Torry, forget Howard Balzer. We're going to have Isaac actually make the presentation now.
Just send this tape in, man.
Right, just send it, drop the mic drop.
Yo, it is, man.
Torry, what are your emotions like knowing you're on the cusp? You've been close before and you're ever so close now. How do you feel? I
feel good, actually. I felt good last year. I feel even better this year. Not being the first ballot Hall of Famer, you learn the process. And thankful for Isaac and his team for helping me and helping our team learn how the process works. It's been great. I feel like I'm getting closer, Frank. I really do, and I do. So hopefully the voters will, for me is really, and I said it last year, really strongly have a serious conversation about my case. I don't think my case. It takes longer than 3 to 4 minutes or 6 to 8 minutes to talk about what I accomplished in the National Football League, individually as well as team wise. So have a serious conversation about my case, and hopefully I'll get a few more votes this year to finally get in, and then me and I can have a hell of a party in Cannes.
Final thought for both of you. You each accumulated these amazing statistics, but as a duo, you're unique. The best tandem, arguably, in the history of the NFL. What about that aspect that you can't say Torry without Isaac, and you can't say Isaac without Torry? What about that, Torry?
It's funny you say that, Frank, because when I talk to folks, or when I'm introduced or see folks around, they talk, but Isaac's name comes up immediately. I don't know if this happens for Isaac, but I wanted to ask Isaac, does that happen for him? But his name comes up all the time. So we're forever connected, for sure, because as you mentioned, being one of the best duos in the National Football League, and the style and the grace in which we did it, I think speaks volumes. And a lot of Isaac and I know a lot of the same people. Our friendship still continues to this day. We have our group chat. I was with Isaac last year in his home in Florida with his family. So we peoples, yo, and it'll always be that way. I'm glad. If I can reach the pinnacle of being inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame with him, I mean, to me, that's just like that's validation on careers that we had, and being able to do it with someone and share it with someone that I admire and like really means a lot.
Isaac?
Well, indeed, I grew up watching great tandems play. Jerry Rice and John Taylor are a great tandem. Yeah. I don't think any tandem will ever be better than Mark Clayton and Mark Duper in my eyes. I think T. Holt and myself, we got close. But, that being said, I think that the impact on the NFL that we left, if you look at every team and what they're looking for as far as wide receiver is concerned, and that ability to play that position, and you talk to the position coaches, I guarantee you all 32 of them would mention Isaac and Torry's name, and they would sit down and show our film to those guys. And I feel like that we became the standard of what general managers around the league were looking for as far as that position was concerned, because when you want somebody to run routes against zone versus man, be able to beat the press, take the top off the defense, and at the same time be able to block every now and then. So I felt like that we were that tandem, and we were that standard, man, where teams like Kansas City right now are still trying to mimic what we put on the field as far as the product is concerned.